Thank you everyone for joining us here at AmaWaterways and Expedia Cruises. I really appreciate the time that you've taken with us to spend to learn about river cruising with AmaWaterways. So my name is Terry Rakunik and I am actually part of the AmaWaterways family. I am here to support the team Friesen, Expedia Cruises, and of course our guests. So I always want to begin talking about our heritage, because we are a family owned and operated company for almost 23 years now, and it's very special to who we are here at AmaWaterways and why we choose to do the things we do. It's very important to how our company runs. So we were started with three families from Europe. Rudy, you can see, from Austria, Christine from Germany, and Gary Murphy's family from Ireland. Now his father, Jimmy, actually started the company. They were co-founders with Rudy and Christine. Since his passing, Gary, before his passing, actually started in with the company, but now he is also a co-owner. So they all come to us with special talents, and on our brochures, you will always see the heart of the river. And Christine, she is the heart of our company. She is really quite a lovely lady who always wants the best. And what you see from all of our owners is that they really believe in travel. They really believe that travel is not only educational, but it brings us all closer together. And it's such an incredible value to everyone. So Rudy, on the other hand, is he's wonderful, but he is definitely the architect of our company. He's the architect of our ships as well as our itineraries. So brilliant man. All of them come from the travel world before they started AmaWaterways. And Rudy, known as the godfather of river cruising, he's actually, many of them worked with other river cruise lines before they started their own company. And the reason that they did this is because they really felt that no one was bringing what they wanted to the rivers, being from Europe, and with all the love. Ama means love in Latin, and that's really what we're all about. And so they really wanted to showcase that and make sure that all of our guests felt that. So this says it best. Founded in 2002, this is our heritage. These three families, passionate about travel, their expertise about the countries and the rivers in these countries. It gives us special access to the most authentic and unspoiled destinations. And really, that's what we want to bring to you. And we now do that all over the world. So Christine said it best when she said, oceans take you to countries, but rivers take you through them. And from this picture, you can see that you're on these narrow rivers. They're very calm. You can see land on both sides of the ship. Being calm, of course, there's no seasickness at all once you're on a river cruise. Now, we do love our ocean cousins, but I will say we are much different. Not just the size of our ships, but also, not being formal, for example. So you can see here that where we sail along, this is where we dock. We dock along the river, along the villages and the towns and the cities, so that you can just step right off into the cobblestone streets and be immersed in the culture of these destinations. Now, I was remiss to not say that Rudy actually started his passion for river when he was, I think it was in the 1970s, where he was sailing. He had a journalist job where he was going through the Amazon River. He actually built his own raft, and he found that this is the way you want to really truly see a country and its culture. And he was trading goods up and down the rivers as he was doing his job. And really, that is truly what brought him to AmaWaterways, wanting to create this for our guests. So here shows you the value of our river cruising. And of course, you're immersed culturally in every destination, which I already talked about. All of our ships actually only have outside views. Again, something a little different than the ocean. So everyone has a beautiful view with a window or a balcony on the outside of the ship. It's very intimate and relaxing because, as you can see, the ships are quite tiny, especially compared to some of these ocean. On average, our European ships are about 156 guests on board, where ocean cruises and anywhere from 300 to 6,000 sometimes. So it is very intimate, which means it's very special too, because you get a lot of personal attention. People get to know your name. You get to know the cruise name. It's really very nice. But that attention, it also means that there's no lineups. It takes you about a minute to 2 minutes to register to get into your stateroom. Like I said, there's no formal wear required, even though AmaWaterways is a 5-star luxury product. We're 5-star in so many ways, but it isn't that you have to wear your suit and tie or your evening gown to dinner. Men can come, you can wear a sports coat, but really polo shirt and slacks is just fine. So I think I've touched on a lot of this. No seasickness, of course, I've already mentioned, which is a big thing for a lot of people, including myself, actually. So less passengers on board, you get to see more. But what is the AmaWaterways difference? What makes us distinct? We are 5-star, but really, I personally believe it is the love. It is that love that comes from Christine and the other owners. It is that everything they do is based on wanting to make sure our guests have an amazing time, that we exceed your expectations, the attention to details. So our differences start with our innovation. We are known on the rivers as the innovators, and Rudy actually is known, as I said, as the godfather of cruising. And the reason for that is because we're usually the first to bring anything onto the waters. And part of the reason we can do that is because Rudy is always making sure of what's going on in the world with the rivers. But Christine, at the end of all of our itineraries, let me go back, we offer a survey to all of our guests, and through those surveys we learn so much, and Christine reads those surveys, and through it we find out what we're doing well, but we also find out what we need to do or what we should do better. And one of those things that Christine found was that people wanted more activity on the river cruise. So she brought in a wellness host that travels with each itinerary, and that wellness host will be on board with you doing stretching in the morning before your excursions. But she's also brought about a pickleball court on the top of the ship you see here. This is our Ama Magna. And that pickleball court, pickleball, the fastest growing sport in the world. So a full regulation size pickleball court on the sun deck here. And speaking of the Ama Magna, this is something that Rudy put together. So when I talked about all the ships, or about 156 on average on the European ships, what I didn't say is that all the ships, river cruise ships on the rivers, are the same size due to the size of the locks. That's not just ours, that's every river cruise line can only be a certain size. So the difference, the 5-star difference, is what we do inside of that ship. So where we put 156 on average on our European ships, some of our friendly competitors put 200. And so the reason I mention that is because what Rudy's done is he's created this Ama Magna, and she can sail on most of the Danube, that one portion of the Danube right after you get onto the Danube on the north. She is actually the locks get a little larger, and so she is actually twice as wide as all the regular traditional ships are. But we only put 196 passengers on her, so 20% more than we do, but literally less than some of our friendly competitors do. So what does that mean? Of course, that means there's lots of space on this ship, especially if you're coming from ocean and you're not sure about river. This is a great ship to look at because she has 4 restaurants, lots of little lounges and nooks and crannies and libraries. Also a large gym. She's got a pool. She's got a hot tub, the pickleball court, of course. So there's lots on her to do. And she is really fascinating and very magnificent. But innovation as well with sustainability. 20 of our ships in Europe have won the Green Award. We have solar panels, on the Ama Magna. We put in your staterooms, we'll put refillable glass bottles for water. We also have Tetra Paks for water when you go out on your excursions. We have an app that makes us eliminate a lot of paper. Now, there are some things that on paper that you may want, and we will still do that for you. But that app, of course, is something that helps sustain. The wellness I already spoke about, and then our twin balcony cabins. So on the majority of our ships, almost all of our ships have our twin balcony, and it is again exclusive to AmaWaterways. And here on the right, the large picture is what a twin balcony room looks like. So the stateroom has a balcony to go outside with a door. You can sit out there, or it has a French balcony where we include some seating area, and that seating area gives you more space within your stateroom as well. So the staterooms have everything you will need. Lots of closet space, which I love, but we have many types of staterooms as well. So on an average ship, most of the rooms will be the twin balcony, but we also have our suites with the twin balcony, which have a separate living area than the bedroom. We have our regular staterooms, and then we also have French balcony only rooms and fixed window rooms. So there's something there for everybody. Not only that, but many of our ships will have connecting cabins as well as fit 3 or 4 people in a room. Now, no one wants to go on holidays and not have amazing food, and we are very proud of our food and our chefs. We're members of the 2 oldest gastronomy societies there are, so we are rated on not only our food, but our wine and our service. So we're very proud, like I say. Now, when it comes to wine, well, let's start at the breakfast. At breakfast, we serve unlimited bubbly. At lunch and dinner, we serve unlimited wine and beer. Now, the wines actually also change regionally. So as you sail wherever you are, they will change regionally. Daily, you'll have a new wine to choose from. So that is on the beverage side, but on the food side, we are very proud because there's nothing frozen. All of our food is fresh. The only frozen thing will be the ice. The ice cream is also made on board by our chefs. We're also really, really good at dietary restrictions. So if you book something and you have any dietary restrictions, please let your Expedia Cruises advisor know. They will let us know, and we will make sure you will get an amazing plate, just like everyone who's dining in the dining room beside you. So we do have the main dining room. All of our meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, are all served a la carte. We include a buffet at breakfast as well as the a la carte. And so there's something for everyone. Everything is really exquisite. We also have much farm to table. So we deal with farmers in the destinations that we're sailing through, and they will provide food for us on board where we will create beautiful meals for you. So outside of that, because we're 5-star, we also have a specialty dining restaurant. And that restaurant is called our Chef's Table. And she is exquisite. She will be a 5-course tasting menu with separate fine wines. And your chef, like you see here, is going to make that meal for you right in front of you. We make sure that everyone on board has the opportunity to get a reservation into the Chef's Table. So we're very proud of it. It is always my favorite meal and a beautiful place to celebrate any kind of activity or birthday, just a get together, any celebration. I would recommend that. Now, I told you that we also have, I didn't mention, but we have tapas in the afternoon and we have some tapas in the evening before bed. Everything, of course, is included. And what else is included is before dinner, we have a 1-hour complimentary cocktail hour called Sip and Sail. So we have the dining room and the lounge, the main dining room and the lounge are both large enough to have all of our guests in there. They have more seats than we have guests. So there's lots of room in there, but many people will gather in the lounge throughout the day and in the evenings. It depends on what's happening on your itinerary, but everyone will usually gather for this hour and they'll talk about their excursions of the day or what they're doing, or what they didn't do, they'll ask. And so it's a great place to meet people. Like I say, it's quite large. The other thing that will happen here is that our cruise manager will come in, and our cruise manager is someone who is really just there for you, the guest. They take care of everything. They are amazing. I don't know when they sleep, honestly. They all speak English. They're all extremely knowledgeable about the itineraries and the rivers and the destinations we visit. But they're there, like I say, to anticipate your needs. And what they'll do is they'll come into that sip and sail hour and they'll take 10-15 minutes of that hour to talk about the next day, what's going to happen the next day, the different excursions we're offering. So they're there for you. That is their only job. They sparkle. They're wonderful. We think we have the best on the rivers for sure. Now, After the lounge and sip and sail, you'll go to dinner, but after dinner, we will also have entertainment on board back in the lounge. So we'll have an onboard entertainer with AmaWaterways there every day who's playing the piano or DJing some music. But then we will also bring on a 1 week cruise, typically 2 to 3 times, we'll bring on some cultural activity. So on from the ports, we'll have singers, we'll have dancers, we'll have musicians. If you want to join up, you can come in and enjoy the music or the dancing. I've already talked about the wellness program, but those wellness hosts will do different activities throughout the day, but they'll also go on our active excursions. Those other activities during the day could be yoga, it could be a core workout or stretching, like I say, but they will also do our excursions. And so before I get to the excursions, like I say, 5-star, we have amenities due to that 5-star, due to the fact that we're doing, we have less people on board and we're doing different things within the ship. So we can offer the pool on almost every ship. We will have either a pool or a hot tub. We have bikes on board. We have gyms on every ship. But those special amenities like a hairdresser and a spa for massage can also be done on board. And then our Wi-Fi. Another difference from the ocean would be that we include your Wi-Fi. It's complimentary for everyone on board and as many devices as you choose. We also have a complimentary app. And so our AMA app, we provide the information of your sailing on it, but that's all we do. And then everything you enter into it is yours. So you can choose your excursions. We will enter on your sailing, the maps, a daily itinerary of what's happening, a cruise planner every day. You can also get these on paper if you like, but we are choosing to try to do it on the app due to sustainability, of course. And you can also do things on your app. So when I'm sailing, there's a place that I can enter friends or family's emails. And when you stop at a port, if you've put in your family or friends' emails, once you stop in a port, it will automatically shoot them a postcard by email of where you are and what you're doing there, and what that town or city has to offer. So it's a great way to, I always brag to my kids, here I am, and there you are. But so unparalleled service, I've already mentioned that is really key to what we want on AmaWaterways is the best service for you. And you will find that with everyone on the crew, from the dining staff to the bar staff to the housekeeping. We're very proud of that. But another thing that I can't say enough about it is our excursions. We really stand out with our excursions because we include all of our excursions. So when you're sailing in Europe, for example, a typical day will be that you'll get up in the morning, whether you do the morning stretches or you just go straight to breakfast. After breakfast, typically there'll be a morning excursion in a port that we're stopped at. Then you might come back for lunch, and then in the afternoon, we might stop at a new port. We might stay in that port, and you can have other excursions that afternoon, or stop in a new port and have a variety of new excursions to choose from there too. Again, all included. So you stop in a port and you'll have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different excursions sometimes you can choose from. And they are much different from each other. You could have a wine tasting or a chocolate making, a pretzel making I've done. You could go up to a castle on the hill. Which brings me to the other special thing about AmaWaterways. We do a number of different variety of activity levels for these excursions. So let's say you're going to go up to the castle on the hill. We have a gentle walkers, which means we'll bring you up that hill and you get to see the castle. So we'll bring you up by trolley or bus or shuttle. And then we have our regular walkers, which will walk up the hill but sightsee along the way. And then we have our active walkers, or our active excursion, which will go up the hill by bike or hike. Sometimes we have both. And the hikes are, of course, you don't need hiking boots there, but they do have a path, but they're still, some of them are pretty steep. So it really depends. We have different levels of activities mentioned beside all of our excursions. So you can choose wisely for yourself, and you can choose in advance and then get on board and change them. So we have all those opportunities. We keep our excursions in small groups, and they're all led by local people. So those local really historians have so much information about the area that they live in, and then they come on to these excursions. We join them on these small groups. So it is really beautiful way to travel and learn about the area or be immersed in the culture again. Now, all we do is river cruising, but river cruising, what we did with those surveys is found that a lot of people want to extend a little bit. So we have added land packages, which is 2 to 4 days, either before or after your cruise, sometimes both, that you can choose to add on. All of them will include a centrally located, beautiful hotel that includes a full breakfast. We will include an excursion per day, as well as give you free time. You'll be able to shuttle between your luggage, well, and you will be able to shuttle between the ship and the excursion, the land package. And the best part is that cruise manager on board, they will be with you and greet you at the pre-cruise and stay with you on the post-cruise. And they will be like a personal concierge. They will help you, especially on your free time, if you want to do something different. They'll also know that destination so well, they can help you with that. So our land packages are always in addition, but something that can really enhance your product and your holiday. Now, where do we sail? Well, of course, we're now sailing all over the world, but our Europe is, of course, where the bulk of our ships are, the majority of them. I'm going to go through some of the rivers very quickly. I'm going to start in the Dutch and Belgium waterways. Of course, they do a 7-day round trip from Amsterdam there. So you do a circle trip back to Amsterdam. It's an incredible city, so much to see and do there. You can always add on there. But our two itineraries, one is the round trip, but a little different is it's a very similar itinerary, but our tulip time, which you see is so beautiful, it is only between the early March and early May, where all these bulbs are hand planted. So it's an incredible thing to see. Now, I included this just to show you, we do have exclusive excursions. Now, because the owners are friends with this owners of this castle, which is why we're the only river cruise visiting this castle. Now, it is open to the public, but river cruise, we are the only ones there, and it really looks like this. It's immaculate. The landscaping is incredible. Disney took some inspiration. You may see some similar castles in his works. But we also go to Belgium, and Belgium is an incredible place to visit. Yeah, of course, Belgian chocolate, Belgium waffles, Belgium beer. There's so much here. I especially like the French fries because they originate in Belgium, of course. They're double dipped in duck fat, so they are my favorite. So lots to see and taste in Belgium. This is the oldest, Bruges is the oldest medieval city in Europe. It's quite incredible. It is somewhere you will want to visit, especially if you like beer, because they do a special cherry beer. And what they do here is, because they don't want to ruin the cobblestones, they don't want beer trucks driving over the cobblestones. So in the center of the city, they've put a pipeline 3 kilometers down and 8 kilometers out of the city so that they can push through 40,000 liters of beer an hour. So really incredible. Like I say, you can take our land package, but Amsterdam may be somewhere you want to stay on your own as well. It is an incredible city to visit. We will, of course, give you different excursions on that land package if you take it with us as well. Now, like I said, they're 1-week cruises, but we also have 2-week cruises that do that round trip, Amsterdam and Belgium, the Netherlands and Belgium, and then it'll continue on down the Rhine to Basel. So that is a 2-week cruise you can do as well. Now, once you're on the Rhine, you can also do 1-week cruises. They all do go in reverse, as well as what I'll tell you here. But the long river north and south is the Rhine. Off to Luxembourg is the Moselle River, and off to the right is the Main River going to the Danube Canal. So we actually do have a 2-week cruise here as well that starts in Amsterdam, goes down to the Main, and then over to the right to the Danube Canal and stops in the Danube at Budapest. So there's a 2-week, but I'm going to talk about the 1-week. So on the Rhine, you're really going to do a lot of a lot of Germany, and you're going to see a lot of cathedrals. You'll go through the Rhine Gorge, for example, which is the most dense amount of castles. And this would be where instead of going into a port one morning or one afternoon, what we would do is we would sail by all this beautiful area, and the cruise manager will do a commentary as you sail through and talk about each of these castles. It's really fascinating. So sometimes we'll sail, but the majority of the time we're stopping in ports. So that's the Rhine Gorge, but you're also going to leave Germany and you're going to go into Strasbourg, France, for example, and end or begin in Basel, Switzerland. So When we talked about the Moselle, that was over to Luxembourg. It's the most prettiest. Most people think it's our most beautiful itinerary because it's so winding and narrow. You see all these vineyards that they plant, all harvested by hand, planted by hand. You see they go as low to the water as they can, all the way up as high as they can. But if you go on the Main River over to the Danube area, you're going to go mostly through Germany. And again, lots of beer country here, lots of Riesling wines from the Moselle to the Main River. But here on the right, you see the Bamberg, another famous German city because they do something called a smoky beer, which tastes like bacon. Now, on any of these, you also have the ability to do a land option. So before or after, you can visit places like Lake Como, Italy, and we put you in a hotel right on the lake. You can visit Switzerland. Prague is probably our most popular land extension. Excuse me. Very, very popular, beautiful Prague, like a museum, very walkable, quite gorgeous. Now, when we get onto the Danube River, the Danube is the longest river, excuse me, the longest river in Europe. We break it in half in Budapest to the upper Danube and the lower Danube. Again, those are one-week cruises. But we also have a 2-week cruise that does the entire river. So you can do that as well. Now, we do have a round trip Budapest that does a little bit of the upper river, but most of them I'm going to show you the one ways. Again, they can be done in reverse. But when we start the upper Danube, we would normally start in Germany like Nuremberg or Wilshofen. And the special thing about Wilshofen is, again, we do an exclusive, and we have so many of these exclusivities, but I'm just naming a few. This one we do an Oktoberfest. So it doesn't matter what month of the year it is, we are going to celebrate every time one of our itineraries begins or ends here in Vilshofen, where we do this Oktoberfest. The town folk come in, they're dressed to their costumed garb, their traditional garbs, and we will have beer and pretzels, fresh pretzels. We will have wine and soda, of course, as well, but it's right beside where you are on the ship. You literally walk off the ship. You do not even have to cross the street. It's right where you're walking off the ship, beside it in the tent. So it's a great way to start your adventure, or even great way to celebrate all the new friends you've made at the end of your holiday. So on the upper Danube, we're going to go through this place called Dürnstein, where Richard the Lionheart, you can climb up there if you like. It's one of our hiking. You can go visit Melk Abbey, a 900-year-old abbey in this area. We stop in a place called Linz, Austria, where one of our excursions is a full day in Salzburg, and people want to see the Alps and they want to go to Salzburg. They want to see the beautiful gardens. You see lots from the Sound of Music as well. The next day you'd go in Vienna. We spent a full day in Vienna, so you'll always have time to go back and forth. You can do our excursions, but you can also go back and forth between, because we have a bus that comes back and forth, Vienna being a very large city. And then you would end in Budapest. Again, Budapest, one of those cities you can definitely spend more time in. Now, if you were doing the lower Danube, you'll see that the terrain has changed. There's a lot of fortresses instead of castles. You've got a lot of these kind of, the hills have changed. And you would start in Budapest, let's say, and then you would visit different places like Serbia. And we have different excursions there. You'll pass by Romania, the Iron Gates, just fascinating. And the people here in the lower Danube haven't had as much tourism for as long as the upper Danube. So they're so happy to see us, and they're so welcoming. You'll love it. Now, after the Danube or before the Danube, we offer many excursions as well for the land packages. If you go visit Poland, you can do Auschwitz if you like. If you're in Romania, you might get to do Dracula's castle. So sometimes things you might not choose to do on your regular vacations, but you can add on to this cruise. Now, when I speak about the Rhine and the Danube, I definitely want to tell you that your Christmas markets are on the Rhine and Danube, but we also go Christmas time in France and in Portugal. And France, we do the Seine, we do Bordeaux region, we do the Saône and Rhône. You can see the Seine, of course, we're going to do Paris. We're going to go by Monet's Gardens in France. And then we're going to, of course, see the beaches of Normandy. And we do go to visit the Canadian beaches as one of our excursions. Now, if you go down to Bordeaux, it is beautiful and, of course, very wealthy area for years. You'll visit castles and chateaus, and of course, it's known for its wine. If you go onto the Saône River, which was the north and south, you're going to start sometimes in Dijon, capital of mustard, of course, and sail all the way to Lyon, fine wines in between. So capital, culinary capital of France in Dijon, and you are going to definitely have some great Michelin restaurants there if you choose. If you continue down the Rhone, you'll get to visit places like excursions with truffle hunting, visit Avignon Arles, which is very Romanesque. You can visit the Papal Palace, the aqueducts. There's a whole Colosseum there, as well as much of Van Gogh, the work and where he lived for so long. Now the Douro on Portugal, very popular, so popular we've added another ship. It's a UNESCO site, it's beautiful, and we can only sail during the day because Portugal makes it illegal to sail at night. Visit some beautiful like Lamego, and then we'll get quickly to our Mekong, our exotics, really friendly. Ho Chi Minh City is one of the friendliest places I've ever been to. Cambodians, you're going to visit temples and Buddhas. You can start in either Ho Chi Minh City or Siem Reap for your 1-week cruise, but you can add on 2 days in Ho Chi Minh City or Siem Reap, or add on another 4 to go to Hanoi and Ha Long Bay, which is simply beautiful. If you're traveling that far, it's something you'll want to do. Really amazing people, best of all my travels. Of course, who doesn't want to go to the Nile and see the beautiful spectacles of Egypt and the Nile? So it's special because we do an 11-night program here where we take you for the first 3 days in Cairo. That's going to be a 22 million people there. So what we do is we break you into small groups and we give you each an Egyptologist, and they will stay with you from those 3 days in Egypt and take you to the Egyptian Museum. They'll take you to the sites that you definitely want to see. They'll get you down to Luxor, be on the cruise on the Nile for 7 days, and then come back up for 1 more night. We can add on here, we can add on either Jordan or Dubai. Africa, an exceptional bucket list place to visit. Our ship only has 14 staterooms. You can see it on the bottom left there, but we pull along these small ships like the bottom right where we sail you into the tributaries to see even more animals. The Chobe River is the watering hole for all the animals in the area, so you will see animals. We're on the ship for 4 nights, and then we take you over to Victoria Falls for a few nights. Such an amazing, incredible wonder to see. You'll stay there, but we have the most land packages that you can add on to Africa. So you can visit Cape Town, Johannesburg, Rovo Israel, Kruger National Park, Rwanda with the gorillas. I'm sure there's more. And then lastly, our Colombia product, brand new. We're just opening it in 2025. So color, cuisine, carnival, coffee, bird watching, silver trade. It's incredible. We're the only river cruise line who is on the Magdalena River. We're going to have 2 ships there, starting at either Barranquilla or Cartagena and going down and around and back up to the other one. Your land packages you can add on are in Panama City, Medellin, or Cartagena. It's really an incredible, if you want to tell people you've done something no one else has done, this will be the one, and very exciting. So just know that once you put your deposit down, in Europe, for example, it's only $500 per person, your final payment is not due to us until 90 days before you travel. So you're holding on to that money and something to look forward to. What a beautiful holiday. You are going to be able to experience AmaWaterways and our love. That our story continues, and we can't wait to see you on board. Thank you so much.